In this video, we will show you how to add text to your designs. You can find the text tool on the toolbar located on the left side of the application window. When you put the mouse over the lettering section, you get to see two options, one for text and one for monogramming. In this video, we'll talk about the text tool, whereas the monogramming tool is presented in a separate video. Before starting the text tool, make sure you select the stitch type for the created text part. When you start a new design, the stitch type used for text is satin by default. But if you have already used an alternative stitch type, then the last used stitch type is applied to the text as well. So when starting the text tool, you may choose to have a look at the properties to see which type is used for the new part. Needless to say that you can always select a different stitch type. Additionally, you can easily select a color for the created text part simply by clicking on any of the available colors from the color palette. Now, let's get to the text editor. When you start the text tool, you may click on the design area to define the position of the text. If you want to change the position, just click again to replace the starting point. The point that you click upon will get a blinking line. Now you can simply start typing. By default, when typing, the text is on a single continuous line. If you need to add a new line of text, press Enter or Return. This works like a usual text editor. Use backspace to delete characters to the left of the cursor and press Delete to remove characters to the right. You can add as many lines you like by pressing Enter. Move through the text using the arrow keys of your keyboard. On the top part of the design area, you can see the options of the text you are adding. Let's have a look at these text options. All the parameters that you can control regarding text are found on this toolbar. First, you need to choose a font. Click on the current font to open the font selector. Scroll down to select the font that suits your design. If you're looking for a specific font, you can simply search for it by typing its name. You may change the number of columns by typing a value. There are three types of fonts on the list. The pre-digitized fonts, which have this zigzag icon. The true type fonts, which have this double T icon. And the simple fonts with this S icon. By clicking on any of these icons, you move to the first font of the respective type. For example, go to the first pre-digitized font or to the first true type font. The pre-digitized fonts are made by professional digitizers for high-quality lettering output. More than 200 pre-digitized fonts are included in this lettering tool. The true type fonts are the fonts that are installed in your computer. The text you have typed is automatically previewed with any font that you select. Notice that there is an easy way to preview the text in multiple fonts so that you can easily select the one that suits your design. Practically, after you have selected a font and before you click on anything else, the font selection drop-down menu remains in focus. You can then use the up or down keys on your keyboard to move to the previous font or to the next one. In that way, you can easily preview your text in all those different fonts. The next thing you can adjust is the size. Type a value Or if working with the mouse, scroll with the mouse wheel to choose a value. This value actually represents the height of the characters. You may also set the characters to be bold or italic. Notice though that some options may be disabled for some fonts. For example, pre-digitized fonts cannot be changed into italics. You may adjust the distance between the characters by typing a horizontal spacing value. If you have a multi-line text object, you can adjust the spacing between the lines by typing a vertical spacing value. You may also select orientation for the text and change the text placement using these alternative placement options. The following is a tip you need to keep in mind about multi-line text parts. If you wish to have a boundary where the text will automatically move to the next line without having to press Enter to change the paragraph, you can change the orientation. If you switch to online segment, the length of the line becomes the text boundary. If your text exceeds that boundary, then it automatically moves the cursor to a new line. You may also apply boundary using on-arc placement or on custom path. More information on text orientation is provided in a separate video. Furthermore, you can line text on the lines. Adjust placement vertically on the line. Use envelope to transform the text. Or enable Smart Text, which gives you the ability to type a specific string of characters to be replaced by a special character. For example, using parentheses and closing a C, you can add the copyright sign. We will not go over these options in detail at this point though, as they are described in length in separate videos. Now let's go back on how to finalize a text object and how to edit it again. So, when you're done, click on the rectangle selection and the text is finalized with the current properties. If you select the text object you've just created, you can see dimension options and not text options. To adjust the text options again, or edit the text of an existing object, you need to select the text tool once again. Adjust the options as you like and click on the selection tool to release the tool. While adjusting the text options, you can left-click somewhere else and you can start a new text. If you need to move the whole text part, place the mouse cursor on top of the highlighted area around the text, but not on top of the characters. The cursor turns into a hand, and by clicking and dragging, you can move the text anywhere you want. Additionally, these dots that you see at the center of each letter are placement handles. When the mouse cursor is on top of this, you can click and drag to move individual characters and create unique text placements. You can also move individual characters using the node editor. When you start the node editor, you can see the dots at the center of each character. Only that now you can select multiple characters and move them all at once. Finally, let's see how you can break the text into lines, paragraphs, words, individual letters, or even curves. Let's start from this text object. If you need to edit in pieces, you can right-click and select Break Apart to separate the text. If you had multiple lines, it will be first separated into lines. If you break apart any of the lines, it will be separated into words. Each word is now a separate text object. If you use break apart once, the letters become separate items. If you start the text tool, each letter is a separate text object, which you can edit individually. It is no longer a text object that you can edit as a whole. To go back, you need to undo the break apart operation. There are many reasons why you may want to break a text object into individual artwork segments. The main reason is that you can now transform and shape each letter separately and create whatever special design you like. Even though individual letters can be transformed separately, in order to freely edit the shape of a letter, you need to use the Convert to Curves option. In that way, you can use the node editor to edit the artwork of the text part as you would with any other part of your design.